Welcome back to the Overwatch League, ladies and gentlemen. Doa and Monty here, kicking off our second match of our first day of our second week of the Overwatch League. We're already in week 2.
You nailed it.
I nailed it. Nailed it. Right.
Got all the numbers right.
I know. That's right. That's and numbers are difficult.
I know.
I majored in art. It's true. It's true. Guys, it's going to be Philadelphia Fusion taking on the Florida Mayhem. Should be an interesting match. Florida, of course, not looking the greatest so far, but let's talk about Philly first. Poco, man. This guy known for his bombs last year, and I feel like we got that again a little bit towards the end of last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, and if you take a look here, final blows for 10 minutes at 6th right now, 2nd in damage block, so doing a lot of work with the defense matrix, as well as getting those big multi-kills that he's known for, and it couldn't be a more perfect meta to get the big Poco bombs when they're all clustered up for you with the Graviton Surge or laid low by the Earth Shatter.
Very true, yeah. It's a CC Paradise, right? That stands for crowd control for you. You know, maybe a bit newer. But a little bit of bad news coming out of Philadelphia Fusion as well. Unfortunately, they tweeted earlier today that Boombox will not be playing due to illness. I'm bummed about that, man.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Zenyatta's out there, but it does mean Elk is going to get the starting spot in the match today. So a chance for this guy to prove himself. Should be cool.
Yeah, it should be interesting as well because Elk is typically a main support player, and this is going to be him playing on the flex support. He might not be as comfortable at this position as a result, but we'll see what he can do. He certainly is known for bringing a lot of shot calling into the back line, so we expect his voice to be heard loudly by the rest of this team.
Sure enough. Well, enough talking. Let's get to meet them. Give it up for the Philadelphia Fusion. Here they come. Carpe, of course, taking the lead as we see him do in-game many times. It's going to be Elk, of course, I think the major talking point for this series. Like you mentioned, Monty, having to flex a little bit and more than just kind of roll, but we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see this guy play.
Yeah, me too. And I'm excited to see the whole support line because Neptuno, of course, renowned last season for being the bloodthirsty Mercy player.
Oh, yeah.
He's still in this league #2 on final blows for 10 minutes on that Lucio. So he's keeping his ways of being very aggressive and securing those eliminations, even in this more Lucio prevalent meta.
And that's something our next team is going to need to be very aware of as they take the stage once again. Give a cheer for the Florida Mayhem. Florida Mayhem in just their second match in the Overwatch League. They did only play one in week 1. Didn't go so great, but chance for them to come back and maybe show us a bit more. You know, on paper, this is a roster that seemingly got a bunch of big upgrades in the offseason, so the first match was a bit surprising.
It was surprising because they really didn't do much of anything. They looked like they had very low coordination. There weren't really a lot of great individual plays being made either, so I think it was surprising. I expected Florida Mayhem to come out looking stronger than they did. Hopefully it was just some of the first match jitters here at the Overwatch League, and they will move past them as they come up against the Fusion today.
True enough, and with players like the man on your screen right now, Hagapun, Zephyr as well, you know, they've got some players who can kind of make plays. A lot, of course, resting on Swan's shoulders as well as the main tank here. BQB, of course, a player that should have a pretty scary Sombra from what we've heard. But it's like you said, Monty, we just didn't see a lot of this or really any of this in their first match. They just seemed to be kind of lifeless. So when I'm looking at this one, that's what I'm looking for. I just want to see some life out of this Florida team. It's there. I know it's in there. I just want to see it come out.
I mean, I hope it's in there. I technically don't know because I have only seen this team play one game and it wasn't there. But, you know.
I have hope, Monty. Well, let's check out our map list today, brought to you by Toyota. Going to start things off on Control with Nepal, then going to Nambani for our hybrid map. Anubis will be our assault map, and then in the end, we will go to Rialto, I believe.
Route 66.
Route 66. It started with an R anyway. Well, whatever. Let's go to Nepal first. How about that?
I'm looking forward on Nepal, and this is a map we are going to be seeing some Sombra plays. This would be a great place to do it. Maybe not on Sanctum, where, of course, the Winston-led 3-3 composition is pretty ideal, given the maneuverability that you have over the pit using the mobility from Winston. But Philadelphia Fusion, know what? They may have some other tricks in store for us running the Orisa.
I was going to say, this is a little bit more of a classic Nepal Sanctum composition. We did see a lot of this last year, actually. Running a McCree or any other DPS, take your pick. We saw quite a few, but it looks like that's what Philadelphia is going to rock out with as we get things started here on Nepal. Florida Mayhem going with something a bit more standard for the current meta, with that 3-3 composition, running the Winston as well. And we'll see if Carpe can get the headshots. It can be tough to finish anybody off with all those big high HP targets on the other side.
I mean, I think if you're confident that they're not going to be able to collapse effectively onto the McCree, then why not let Carpe just style on them using the Cowboy? And right now you can see the team's just rotating around the outside, and there's an engage, but Swan is very far ahead of the rest of his team.
I believe Carpe was ready with the flashbang on the McCree right there. You got to watch out for those stuns as you jump in with Winston, and that's something you're definitely going to need to worry about. But Hagapion going down early. Carpe does find one right out of the gate, looking for more shots. Now another one onto Chris. And it's a Carpe show in this fight. Dives in with the flashbang to help Sato pick up another one. And that's a pretty resounding team fight win for Fusion right off the bat.
I mean, it's nice when you can take out 2 supports right away with a McCree. It doesn't get much better than that, does it, Toa?
It helps a little bit. When that healing is gone, you're feeling pretty good as the enemy team.
Yeah, and they need to figure out a way to deal with Carpe here, because they tried to play the point that left Carpe over on the bridge across from this chasm, easily able to pick off support players who were not protected by any barriers or the defensive matrix. Now they're going to rotate all the way over to the Philadelphia Fusion side of the map before engaging.
Hagapion already a little bit low, but they do send the dive in onto Carpe. Swan, he was not prepared, man. The hammer was fanned, and that's going to be the end of that fight for Florida.
I mean, what do you say?
Boy.
You can't just jump in alone by
the humanity!
double tap after the latest flashbang. But you can't just dive in alone with this Winston, because you will just get stunned by the McCree and possibly chain stunned by EQ on the Brigitte. And if the Matrix isn't there to preserve you, that Fan the Hammer is going to do a lot of work there at close range. So Florida Mayhem really not coordinating on that dive.
Well, Florida did get a little bit of percentage built up before that fight ended, so Philly did have to take a little bit of a break. They still are in the lead control percentage wide, of course. And Deadeye, is he going to get anybody? They need to get those shields up in time. That was a good knockup. He's being so patient, doesn't get anyone in the end. He actually did D-Max Zephyr with that Deadeye, and he's going to get more there. Finally gets chased away by Sato in the Primal Rage, but doesn't matter. His team is there to clean everything up, and Swan just takes a, can I say Swan dive off the map?
You definitely can say Swan dive off the map.
It was a Swan dive, yeah. It was a reset thing. That's a Swan dive, yeah.
I just don't know what Florida Mayhem is trying to do, because it looks like they're trying to play the point here, but then Swan goes off on his own, trying to deal with Carpe. They seem to be two minds over how they're going to handle this composition. They're not making any swaps.
BKB's got the grabs. Maybe we can see if, Hagapadon ready. What? Carpe finds another one, and Fusion just not letting Mayhem get anywhere close to this point. They're going to hold them right at the door. Activate getting chased down as well. He goes in for the melee. Carpe getting a little bit too overeager there. That may have been a bit too far of a chase for McCree, I gotta say. And that's going to cost them their main tank, too. So Florida Mayhem kind of being gifted a new lease on life in this round. It's gotten a little bit silly here. There's a D-Mac over onto Poco here. He's just going to go ahead and take a Poco dive down into the pit. And that's going to be a reset.
What do you say about that, though? Obviously an overextension. Philadelphia Fusion getting cocky. Before that fight, they had only had one elimination on their side. So Florida had only gotten one elim in that entire map.
That was totally gifted over to Florida there. That was just...
absolutely was.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. That BKB going in still has that grab. He's been saving it. Hagapion getting a kill onto Carpe here. So they've got a chance here to hold this for a little while longer. It is a 6v5. Be waiting things out. Better to not use that grab if you can avoid it. Neptuno down again, and they're going to be able to save pretty much everything here. That's a nasty reset on EQO and Sato too. So suddenly Fusion maybe starting to sweat a little bit. You can get held at the door here if you're not careful.
I mean, the problem with what's happening is Philadelphia doesn't have a composition that can really easily break this with the number of ultimates with the 3-3 comp that Florida's running. I mean, this is a very easy choke for Florida Mayhem to hold. How do you break through this if you're Philly? You're going to have to trance through, basically.
Yeah, you gotta, or just walk through, I guess. I don't know, but we'll see. Oh, you go down, there goes Neptuno, and they were ready. Trance just to make sure everyone stays up here. Waiting out that Deadeye as well, but I think that's going to be about it. I was a bit surprised that they let Fusion just walk through the door like that, but the collapse was really well executed by Florida.
I mean, they knew what they were going to do. Fusion tried to escape without burning that Transcendence just to attack them in the front.
That's gone now.
Yeah, and now they're going to have to switch Sato over to the Winston, Carpe on the Zarya, but I mean, you don't have any time to get any kind of ult charge here.
Well, Florida's got the sound barrier. There's no way they should lose this fight. They're going in now. They're trying to take it aggressively. Sound barrier used on the Philadelphia side, too. There's a Graviton Surge. Can they get a Hugget down? Sato taken out as well. Looks like Florida should be okay, but there was perhaps a back cap going on. Poco flew in the back, nearly flipped it. Actually, I think he did flip it there. And Poco having to run. Yeah, Florida having to flip it back again. It was at 99% for Philly, so admirable effort by Poco in the end. Gave his team time to maybe get back on this one here. I don't know, it's gonna be tough to turn this fight around though.
I'm not actually sure how Swan died in that fight either, though. I mean,
it's interesting.
Florida Mayhem looking like they may be able to hold this right now. They should be able to, and they will.
All right, that was a crazy round, but Florida does come out on top. What a start to this series. Interesting. And we're gonna take a quick break, and we'll be back to see if Philly can tie things up. And we're back, Florida Mayhem with the lead here on Nepal, but kind of a puzzling performance by Philadelphia. All right, it was a throw. Monty bringing the truth.
There were actually like two different very large mistakes. One of them was even pushing out that bar in the first place. And the second was not switching over to 3-3 as soon as they realized that they had lost the point.
Yeah.
Gave them no time to sort of rebuild that ult economy. And this is why 3-3 is powerful, Doa, is because once you have that big ult advantage, it is super hard for other compositions to go ahead and break through.
All right, so you see the swaps coming out from Florida. They notice there's no diva on the other side. But now Philly's swapping back again. The mind games are real, and suddenly that Ana pick from Hagapun not going to be quite as strong with the diva on the other side.
And they are going to cap first here. Carpe once again coming out on the McCree after seeing the swap to the double flankers of the Sombra and the Tracer from Tavik.
Right. Florida's going to have to swap too. They're going to see how long they can hold the point first. Risk taken out by Carpe early on. He's been doing well in that McCree, aside from a little bit of over-chasing once in a while. Sato down, though, so Florida Mayhem striking back here. Can Philadelphia switch the point? Got the comp advantage for the moment. Carpe has to back away. There goes Tavik, caught by EQO, of course, at Brigitte. So good against the Tracer. And it looks like Philly is going to be able to clean this up eventually and switch the point over, and I'm sure we're going to see some swaps from Florida here as they come back out of the gate.
Well, the nice thing for the Fusion, that was actually a brilliant compositional change because you have the Brigitte and you have the McCree stuns to deal with the flankers from the Florida Mayhem. The Ana actually did get a lot of value, surprisingly, even through the defense matrix of Poco, nearly being at the nano boost already. But the great thing for Philly is if Florida goes back to a 3-3, all they have to do is change one hero on Carpe, switch it over to the Zarya, and they're going to be good. So it's not going to bust the bank on ultimates if Philly has to make a change. Yeah. So this is really, really good shot calling, I think, from the Fusion.
I like it. Hagapun has that nano boost. That's why we saw him stick on the Ana. He could be waiting for it. There's the EMP out down immediately. That's Zenyatta. So tender, so vulnerable. After losing those shields, and Florida Mayhem just going to roll right over Philly in this fight. Goodbye, Poco. He's going, no, just let him. Oh, padding the stats. Swan's padding the stats.
But here's the cost, though, right? Philadelphia, by being delayed and giving up the first cap to the Florida Mayhem because they wanted the last say over compositions. So they were able to win that first fight. Florida Mayhem, though, they don't panic. They come back after switching Tavik over to that Brigitte, and they realize that EMP is still going to have great value for them. They win the next fight, and now they've taken the lead.
EQO taking a nap there for a moment. Rather Poco. And Florida has a couple ultimates to try to defend for a little bit. Deadeye comes in. Can he catch anybody with it? Not quite. Does get hacked before he's able to pull the trigger there. Fusion scrambling a little bit. Sato did go ahead and use that Primal Rage, got stunned. He's gonna try to get into the back line here, but gets hacked again. Yeah, and this is BQB. This is the Semmler we were hearing about with this guy. He's been hacking all the valuable targets and doing a lot of good for Florida here.
BQB's been playing great.
Yeah.
Got a great EMP to start things off. Now he's going to hack two targets. Another EMP just to go ahead and mop up this fight.
Yeah, and got that EMP so fast, too.
Yeah, it also right now is a big advantage for the Florida Mayhem on the point, which may be the final battle of this map.
Could be. BQB having to go high with the translocator to stay alive, but it looks like they're going to be able to finish off this fight right now. Sato not lasting too long. They're going to flip it back, and they are getting close to 90% right now. Like you said, Monty, Philadelphia is going to have to really scramble if they want to have a chance to tie up Nepal here.
I like that Florida had an answer to what Philadelphia Fusion was doing. They weren't stubborn, sticking on the Tracer instead. They're going to go ahead and make it work, and now Philly has to get onto this point, and there's a self-destruct coming in.
You have to avoid it. They managed to do just that. Philadelphia coming in, but now the nano boost onto Swang. Sato down already. His Reinhardt not working out too well. There goes EQO. So Florida Mayhem getting the 6v5 early on, which is exactly what you want to have to close out this series. Swan does fall eventually, but it looks like they got enough people. We'll see if Philadelphia can delay long enough for the respawns, but I don't think they can. Overtime expiring here. Finally getting rid of that pesky Lucio, and that's going to be Florida Mayhem getting the 2-0 on Nepal.
I mean, say what you will about that first point, Doa, where Florida Mayhem may not have deserved to win, but they definitely deserve to win on Shrine. That was some really good Sombra play from BQB. Multiple very big hacks.
I think we're in for a great series, guys. We'll see you on map 2 right after this.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
All right, we said we wanted to see some life from the Florida Mayhem, and I think we saw exactly that. I mean, there was a lot of good play all around on the Mayhem side, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was. And as much as we can talk about Philadelphia Fusion making those mistakes in the first point, for every throw, there must also be a catch, Doa.
That is true.
You know, the Florida Mayhem, they really ran with the gift that was given to them, and then they rode that momentum all the way through into that second point. So credit to them. Big 2-0 statement victory for them. That's going to be their first map so far of this Overwatch League season, and they looked a lot better than what we saw last week.
I mean, that round on Shrine was just, that was the Florida Mayhem that I thought we were going to see, where you're seeing, you know, BQB make those great plays on Sombra. You're seeing kind of everything come together a little bit more. I hope they can keep it up.
Yeah, it looks like they're playing to their strengths. And Philadelphia Fusion, they came out with some interesting compositions. Obviously, they're going to be at some level of a disadvantage without having their starting flex support player Boombox in this lineup.
Right.
I wouldn't worry too much because Philly can always go back to what has been good for them, what has propelled them to a flawless record so far this season, which is going to be the Winston-centric 3-3 triple tank, triple support composition that we're seeing on your screen right now.
Of course. Here we go. It's going to be Florida Mayhem on the attack first here on Nambani. Our hybrid map, of course, BQB again on that Sombra worked so well before. And Zephyr swapping over to the Reaper. Oh, there's the BQB Zarya. So They're going to change things up a little bit. Interesting.
Yeah, and
It's a bold move to go for this Reaper play.
Yeah, they're also going to do it without a diva in this lineup. So moving a flex tank over to a damage-dealing hero, Will Zephyr. They're just going to charge the high ground.
Why not? I mean, if you can get in there, if you can burn through those Zarya shields, you can burn through that Winston. They know he's weaker, and that's exactly what they do. They lose Hagopyeon in the process, but if Zephyr can stay alive, get some of that health back from that left click, they're going to be just fine, because that's a hard point to break right now. Philadelphia Fusion definitely on the outside looking in here. And that's a point they're trying to defend.
Yeah, that's the issue, though. The Winston got stunned so quickly there on the side of the Philadelphia Fusion, and that left the Winston a sitting duck there for Zephyr on that Reaper. I don't know if that elimination's going to be enough. It looks like Florida Mayhem should be able to push this one back.
Poco did get demegged here. Wow, they're going to go ahead and dedicate the Transcendence from Elk here on the Philadelphia Fusion side, going to try to charge in. There's a Graviton Surge used. Now on the Florida side, Swan doesn't quite connect with that charge, but it doesn't matter. The people who on Philly that need to be dead for Florida to take this point are dead. Goodbye, Elk. Hope they had a permit for that, Elk. They're going to
hunting permit.
Either way, that's right. Yeah.
How many points do you think Elk is?
I don't know. I think right now, maybe like a 6-pointer or so.
A 6-pointer? His hair's pretty pointy.
I think we got to let that one go through. Many points in the hair. Million pointer.
Jokes aside, Florida Mayhem, that's a strat that was definitely tailored to the Philadelphia Fusion this week, because you know what you're getting out of week 1 from the Fusion, because they haven't been that good at playing Reinhardt, honestly. So they've been focusing very heavily on that Winston. And if you can tag the Winston early, if you can take him down, then you're going to be in situations like that. At Florida Mayhem, they say, come at us again. We're going to keep this Reaper.
Yeah, just walk right in there with the Reaper. Worked before. Point B, of course, we know is a very difficult point to hold on the defense. Sato goes and jumps in. He's got that Primal Rage. He's going to use it to split up Florida for the moment. Anything to buy some time, really. I
mean, that's great, though, for Florida. You got the Primal Rage. They just back off immediately. Comms look like they're in order. Sato jumps in, gets stunned, and you have to be so careful. That Reaper can do so much damage to a tank.
As soon as the Zarya bubble is gone, you know that Brigitte's going to come in with the Shield Bash, and that Winston is not going to last that much longer. It's going to be another pretty resounding team fight win for Florida, and I think you're absolutely right, Monty. I think this is a team that has been well prepared to face Philadelphia Fusion.
These are Philly killer strats. Like, what do you say?
Yep.
Florida Mayhem coming in looking much better prepared than they were in the first week of competition. And I think you have to look at the coaching staff. There wasn't a lot of data, obviously, on teams before coming into this league, but you're seeing some really cool, tailored strats from the Florida Mayhem.
I like it. Zephyr swapping over to the Diva now, which is a bit more logical of a pick here. The Reaper was going okay, but at this point, yeah, the Diva's going to get you more mileage in the end. It's going to be the grab coming in for Philly. Can respond from the sound barrier on the Florida side. No kills out of that self-destruct from Poca. Now the Earth Shatter comes in. That's going to help him pick one up on Neptuno. Florida's so close to finishing point B right now. They're going to try to use the Transcendence to finish this one off, and Sato just getting separated from the teammates. You saw he was kind of around the corner from his healers. Florida was able to finish him off, and that's going to be point B.
Florida's convincingly winning this 3-3 matchup. They switched
really good.
Zephyr back over to the Diva now just to grind out this final point. I think that was a prescient switch. You're going to want those ultimates available just to go ahead and wipe the competition, and especially because Sato's no longer on the Winston either. That Reaper is going to get a lot less value with the barrier coming in. And with the Reinhardt. So now they're going to look and try and see if they can push this a little bit forward. There's a very good time, 4 minutes remaining just to get point C for the Mayhem.
That's a ludicrous amount of time to push through point C on Nimbani. Neptuno waiting in the wings with that sound barrier here. Poco's trying to build that Graviton Surge. They're going to need a major Poco bomb, I think, to win this one. Trying to get aggressive now, just forcing Florida back a little bit. All about positioning here as teams build up those ultimates, and Florida doesn't have any at the moment. And they've got time to be patient, don't they?
Yeah, they have tons of time. Whoa. That's Carpe throwing out a Graviton very early, but that's all they're going to need to clean it up. Swan a little bit too far ahead of the rest of his team for them to protect him, and he's quickly focused by the members of the Fusion as they reset.
I think you're fine with this if you're Florida, right? Because you're so close to 6 ultimates, right? You're like, yeah, okay, get that out of the way. Now we're going to roll in with everything.
I think the smart thing to do is they're going to know that Philly's going to have 5 ultimates. So try and use just as little as possible if you're Florida right now.
Right.
Force a couple more out of Fusion, then hit back with 5 or 6 ults of your own. So this is a time where you maybe just go ahead and trance in if you can.
It's a game of efficiency.
Yeah, just to force them to use something in return.
BKB dropping down. Very charged up, man. He's got a lot of damage coming out of that Zarya right now. Just just trying to get Philly to use any ultimates they can. Florida has 6 at the moment. It's going to be the rally coming out on the Florida side, it looks like. Earth Shatter comes in. Oh, that looks like a big one for Florida. There goes Sato. Laid low with the Earth Strike now. BQB going a little bit farther, but it's like you said, Monty. They're being so sparing with those ultimates. And they're going to get some distance on this one.
All right, Philly called actually just a wipe right there because they knew that they were going to have a trouble. Tavik tried to pop that rally early in Florida Mayhem. They won the mind games.
Yeah.
You know, Philly, they lost Sato early on to the Shatter, and now they have to regroup for this final defense, and they're going to do it with fewer ultimates.
Whoa, they barely got there instead. Graviton Surge coming in. Sound barrier for Florida Mayhem, keeping them nice and safe. The sound barrier on the Fusion side, self-destruct, but nobody gotten with it. Now Florida free and clear to charge ahead on the remainders of Philadelphia Fusion. Poco just trying to survive as long as he can on the point right now. You might as well use up all the time you can, but it's just the respawns trickling in for Florida to have to deal with right now. The Hammond comes out. Sato just trying to be disruptive here.
I mean, he needs help with the ball. The Reinhardt can't deal with that level of movement on the payload.
They take him down eventually. Now it's EQO, but that's going to be it. Florida Mayhem finishing all 3 points on Nimbani in style.
Wow, I'm really impressed with Florida today.
Yeah.
I was having a laugh on that first point, but I think they're the ones laughing now.
I think so. Well, Philly gets a chance to attack right after this. Oh, what a great attack from Florida Mayhem.
Yeah, very good.
To really kind of clean Philly's clock there. They had the kind of tailor-made strategy to handle the Winston, and it really looked like Fusion had a hard time kind of figuring out how to respond.
Yeah, a minute and a half left in the time bank on Nimbani, too. Very
It's
respectable.
a lot. Yeah, for sure. So now we're going to swap it over to the Philly side and see if they, on their attack run, can do better.
Yeah, should be exciting to see if Philadelphia has something. I'm sure Florida has something planned for this defense.
You'd imagine, yeah. I'm really curious to see what Florida has in mind here. At the moment, they've got that Stormbreaker out again. They've got the Pharmacy in action too. The Pharah and the Mercy. Auguste back on that Ana again. So they are going to rely on BQP and that EMP for the most part. Kind of free things up for some kills onto Fusion. Fusion rolling out with Winston 3-3 again.
BQB, I mean, he's just going to harass right away. Take some...
Let's take a look at the comp too.
Yeah, just chunk out Elk right there. Get 10% of his ult charge already rolling. And as you say, going to do a little bit of scouting. So how are they going to deal with this Pharah in the air? What the Fusion need to do is actually just take control of the point, and they should be good to go. Really the issue is the approach and how much damage, and if they can get onto the point without losing anybody.
Yeah, you try to get in there and then ignore it. Elk's taking a lot of damage early, though. I don't know. That Farah's rockets are doing work here. Oh, but Chris goes down. Poco somehow flew up and took him down. They lost Sato in the process, though, so I don't know how much they can really push this, but I feel like this is an opportunity you have to take.
I mean, they have to go for it now, Doa, because of the spawn being closer for Florida, and that's what they're going to do. They will take advantage.
You have to be aggressive in a situation like that. You get that Mercy out of the way with that 3-3 comp. Yeah, you know you have to get on the point. And they did it. Wow, I thought it was going to take them a little bit longer, but great play from Poco.
What happened there was Sato dove back, and both Florida tanks, so both Zephyr and Swan, flew back to take out Sato, and that left really the DPS, the damage dealers, and the supports unprotected in midair. So Poco recognized that opportunity, just flew up and took out the Mercy. That was an excellent read by Poco.
So the things just fly up there with the rockets going, and that's a lot of damage on a Mercy that can be elusive otherwise. Florida Mayhem getting pushed back already in their post-losing point 8 defense.
Yeah, I think Florida, though, this is the right call. They don't need to do anything cheeky right now. They can just play standard Reinhardt 3-3 and just try and grind it out because they have such a good time already.
Well, they do know Philly. Sato has kind of struggled with that Reinhardt in the past, but not struggling right now as Florida Mayhem already losing 2. They're going to use Elk's Transcendence to win them the fight here. So just dedicating that one ultimate. Very measured approach from Philadelphia Fusion. Chris lasting as long as he can on the payload.
Philadelphia Fusion, though, look like they will be able to push through point B at the very least. So trying to match that time from the Florida Mayhem, and they certainly are keeping pace thus far. Florida's still going to be struggling to reach some of those ultimates as they were playing a very different composition than the 3-3 that they have swapped to right now.
You're going to have to kind of make your stand on point C, I think, here. One last point B defense, though, is usually what we see from most teams, and Swan's going to drop down to take point on that one. Carpe going in. A lot of charge on this guy right now. Waiting for that grab here. Florida, oh, that's a nice Surge Shatter. Goes in, takes down Zephyr. Ultimate's coming online for Florida here. How many are they going to use? Poco takes on Hagopion with the self-destruct. Doesn't seem to matter what Florida throws into that. Philadelphia Fusion going to take point B without any issues.
You're going to be okay with that if you're Florida, though, because all you had to use was Trance to stall out the card. You got 3 ults from the Fusion. You were already planning on losing that fight, so the net result is actually very positive for Florida.
That's like what we said. You just throw that extra defense in at the end of B, use a bit more time, try to force out some ults. Make your main defense on C, which is what we see. Oh, Sato! It's like ice skating in there, man, but he didn't really get anyone with the Earth Shatter. Now the self-destruct comes in from Florida. Can they pick anyone? Great boop! That was amazing, just putting everybody in the right position for Zephyr to get that 3 kill. And now Philadelphia sent packing. They've got a ton of time on the clock, though, so they aren't too worried yet.
And that's going to be a great cleanup. They were able to invest that self-destruct. Elk was in there with the Transcendence, but the instant damage from the self-destruct, too much with the healing over time from Elk not being effective. And Neptuno was booped out, so he wasn't able to get a sound barrier to protect his teammates.
You can just save that one for later, I suppose. It's kind of like what we looked at with the Florida attack, where Philadelphia has 4 minutes on the time bank. They've got plenty of time to build up some ultimates, approach it pretty passively.
Still going to be a bit of a trick here, though, I think, for them in the end. Unless they get a pickup right now, that's a lot of damage onto BQB, but they can't finish the Zarya off.
BQB gets low, but they don't finish him off. They do get some distance on the payload, though. It was enough to force Florida back, so that's space that Philadelphia Fusion is happy to take.
Yeah, remember that a lot of the healing comes from Brigida's Inspire, so if you're not engaged, it can take some time to heal Zarya back up.
Very true. Ooh, Swan down early. Didn't have the support he needed. Sound barriers on both sides here, but it's a bit late for Florida. They need that Reinhardt alive. Now the grab comes in from Carpe, looking for a bit more. Here comes the self-destruct. No kills out of it, though. It's going to be a Transcendence now for Hagopion to try to keep his team alive, but that payload is still moving. They need to stop Philly trying to regroup here. They've got Swan back on the Reinhardt now. And they've got Fusion at bay for the moment.
I mean, just a little game of poke right now. Elk has the Transcendence. They may be waiting for a Shatter here.
That's right. Elk still has that Transcendence in case things get a little bit hairy here. Florida Mayhem, though, they need to get those big CC ultimates in action. There it is. Transcendence used to try to counteract the Graviton Surge. Good charge by Sato, or Swan rather, but he loses a lot of health because of it. And then the Earth Shatter comes in. Carpe capitalize it. Now Zephyr sends in a self-destruct. No kills out of that one. Hagopion so low health, now no health, as Florida just scrambles to try to keep Fusion from taking this point, but it's going to be tough. There's a great grab coming up from Carpe, and that's going to be about the end of it. As soon as they take out Tavik, Swan's got no health. Yeah, he's not going to last. There goes Tavik. Hagopion. Jet now with the Transcendence.
He got it!
Buys some time, but it's not enough. Philadelphia Fusion getting a better time on attack than Florida were able to kind of do.
I think it's really impressive. Great patience there from Fusion to wait for Florida Mayhem to get that itchy trigger finger on the Graviton Surge.
Sure enough, quick break, and then we'll be back with the time bank. Don't go anywhere. Oh yeah, it's time bank time. That's right, 3 points for Philly, 3 points for Florida. Philadelphia Fusion with quite a bit more time than Florida actually after their attack run. 2:26 on the clock. Florida Mayhem with just 1:30, and because of that, they will be attacking first in our extra rounds here on Numbani. Fusion showing the regular look we've seen on defense and pretty much anywhere else from them. Winston 3-3.
And we'll see if Mayhem sticks to this Reaper. It's important to note, we need to take a very specific look at Sato's positioning because he was right outside of the staircase that leads to the higher level. And that was where he got stunned the first time and then destroyed. You'll see he's modified his position to be at the back of the point this time.
Yeah, they sent BQB out. We saw to scout it and see if they wanted to switch, and they will. Looks like Vic over on the Brigida now.
Yeah, but Zephyr's still on the Reaper. So the question is, where is Sato going to be positioned, and is he going to get one shot like he did this last time?
Right there.
Earlier Zarya bubbled this time, though, so he doesn't get stunned.
So it's a kind of a composition to protect the VIP. Zephyr being the VIP who does all the damage in this particular one. Oh, and they did not protect him. Nope, that's not how you protect the VIP. That's how you get fired from your bodyguard job right there.
That's how you don't become a member of the Secret Service, Noah.
I was going to say, yeah, nobody on Florida is going to be able to pass that exam. Like, did you ever try to protect somebody important? They're like, yes. They're like, well, how'd it go? Well, he died immediately. Well, I think maybe a different career is the path for you then. They're going to try again. Only 25 seconds now. This attack has to work for Florida. Otherwise, this is going to be a pretty disappointing round for them. They're on the point. This is what they want. Now they just try to defend from here. The doorway should keep Zephyr safe. That's the idea here. Sato jumping in with the Zarya shield again. They got to keep people on the point to build up that control meter, though. Neptuno stalling it, though. That Lucio being very annoying, bouncing around above the doorway. They got to do something about him. But as soon as they turn to look at him, Philly can come in. They're going to dive in now. Poco gets a little bit low here. Oh, but not as low as Swan is getting. They need to find a way to protect him. They can't do it, though. Zephyr firing away, but there's only so much you can do as he goes airborne. Is he even going to get to his ultimate? I don't know, man. EQB low as well. They're losing tanks left and right. Florida Mayhem clinging to life on this push here, and I don't think they're even going to be able to claim a single tick here. It's not looking good.
I mean, the Death Blossom, are these going to throw it out there? He's going to get the Sound Barrier's Death Blossoming, but he's stunned out of it.
Oh, man, that stun came in at just the right time. And Philadelphia Fusion, great adaptation, much more ready for that attack this time.
So we had to watch Sato there because what Sato was doing was that he was trying to change their positioning.
Yeah.
Because basically, the Philadelphia Fusion knew they couldn't fight Florida Mayhem on the point. So what they had to do was draw them off. Sato would then run off to the side, and that meant Florida Mayhem would have to go chase him onto one of the flanks. And as soon as they tried to chase him, when they were trying to rotate back to the point, that's when they were able to get a pick off. This is what happened. They were waiting for that sound barrier, but EQO, great read on that situation, knew it was coming in, and just shut it down immediately. Good play by EQO.
Zephyr got 2 dies out, but not the 3rd die. If you don't get the 3rd die out, the die, nobody's going to die.
Is that how it works?
That's how it works. That's the rule.
They're going to try the same defense, Florida Mayhem. We'll see. Again, we need to look at the tanks here because Swan and Zephyr bit very hard on a deep Sato dive last time when they could have just left him out there. Because the thing is, he tried to jump way far along the road and past the payload.
Right.
But if he uses his jump, you just don't even have to, you can just ignore him. Like, you don't have to go back there and try and kill him. And that was the opportunity that Poco needed to take out the Mercy.
Along the Road and Past the Payload was the name of one of Tolkien's unwritten Hobbit novels. Wrote on the notes, never actually finished the book. Couldn't decide what the payload was back then, I guess. It's kind of the ring, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little
Here we go. Philadelphia on the attack. Going once again for that Winston 3-3 composition. Sato leading the charge. Got that Zarya shield. And Carpe having to back away. A little bit of charge on Carpe there. He's going to have a little bit more damage coming to this next one. That's what they want. Florida Mayhem going with the same defense they did the first time around.
Yeah, it should be working better this time, though.
Should, but Philly only needs 1 tick to win the map. Swan down early. Ooh, that's a good start for Philadelphia. A lot of low health members, though, over on the Fusion side. Florida Mayhem trying to capitalize with that Pharah, but they lose Zephyr's mech. Swan does get res. Somehow Chris was able to make it over there. And with BQB team-making Poco, maybe they've got a chance. But Sato got the back lines, but not enough health to take out the tender supports there. Hagapion takes on Neptuno as well. And guess what? Florida Mayhem finally getting that defense they wanted the first time around. And It's going to use up about a minute of Philadelphia Fusion's time bank.
That was a really scary situation for Florida
Yeah.
Mayhem. They must keep Swan alive because he's the only thing alongside with Zephyr that's going to be able to keep them from getting that first tick. Florida Mayhem, this is a finicky defense. They can't all just stand on the point here. So if the tank line goes down, Philadelphia Fusion can simply sit there under a Winston bubble and dare this Pharah and this
Oh, good EMP from BQB. Elk gets him anyway. All right, well, Florida Mayhem. All right, let me say something. Florida Mayhem crushing that fight, great, but I'm so proud of Elk for killing a Sombra after being EMP'd. That is every Zenyatta's dream right there. Props to you, man. I don't care if you lost the fight. I like you, Elk.
Yeah, still good value, though, right, from the Florida Mayhem, only using the EMP on the Sombra. And this is what they need to do. They need to catch them in these corridors before they get to the point and set up a camp.
Yep, BQB just being annoying again. And, you know, before the season began, Florida said, hey, man, watch BQB. His Sombra is out of this world and looking very good here on the defense. Vic takes out 2 with the barrage already. Are you kidding me? Elk a little bit late with the Transcendence there and can't keep his team alive. And now we're down to just about 10 seconds for Philly's attack. I don't know how they're going to take this one.
They're not going to get back to the point, though. I think that's the major problem here is how do they even get back there?
Oh, this map just
he got
really
back.
crazy.
EQO.
There. He's on his own, though. He couldn't even, well, I guess he did cause overtime in the end, and that's going to buy just enough time for Sato to get in there with that Zarya shield. Can they keep the momentum going, though? They need some kills. The sound barrier may help with that. All right, Swan pops that Primal Rage. Florida Mayhem trying to still be careful. Chris gets taken out somehow. Carpe roasted him, and now Zephyr going to get defect as well. BQB comes in. Gets grabbed after EMP. There are kills on both sides, but they only need 1 tick on the Philly side. Can they get it? Swan tries to kill out, but he's got no health, and they barely pull it off. What a win on Nambani for Philly. It does not get closer than that.
How many times can Carpe clutch things out in overtime?
No
what a
kidding.
ridiculous play.
Want Carpe to be good, just almost lose, I think is the key, because if you're almost losing and Carpe has a chance, he will deliver you that win. That was crazy stuff, man. Halftime, or rather, after when we come back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.
We're all tied up in the half of this match between the Philadelphia Fusion and the Florida Mayhem. 1-1. Philadelphia, Carpe and company clutching it out at the end there. And you hate to see it. You hate to see stuns on Reaper when he's Death Blossoming. EQO, killing it. Anyways, guys, my main takeaway from this first half definitely has to be that Florida studied their game tape.
Oh, they really did. They did their homework, and that was really, really clear on the first map. They managed to really counter a fusion. And to be fair, Philly kind of looked like they're not really respecting the Mayhem. There was a lot of overextension going on, and a lot of kind of thrown-in ultimates where they had no business in using their Qs whatsoever.
I definitely got that impression from at least the first map. They seemed to clean it up in the second half a little bit, but again, very close game so far.
All right, well, taking a look at the highlights of the first map, Philadelphia came out the gate storming. Carpe was killing on McCree, and then the overextension.
Yeah, they had such a good start as well coming out from it. I believe they put it all the way into the distance essentially on this first round. Like you said, Carpe absolutely killing the game. They're playing this Orisa anti-dive composition. And essentially, like you said, it all came down to that overextension. When they managed to get flipped over to Florida, this composition that Philly were running originally, you know, when you're running the Orisa, it's much harder to retake the point once you're pushed off of it. And it all just went downhill from there on that first map.
All right, well, let's talk about Numbani. We saw a lot of counter strategies from Florida to Philadelphia, down to the Reaper play.
Yeah, in particular, that was actually crazy to see. They were taking out little picks here. They know that Sada was a little bit uncomfortable on the Reinhardt. They know that they can play the Reaper into it. So I've been very impressed by Florida. I think Monty was making mention to it, like we said at the start of this halftime as well. They've been doing their homework.
Yeah, they really did. And they really tried to force Sado off of that Winston, which is his comfort pick. And we did see that whenever he was forced off of it, he got a little bit less secure in his aggressive play. However, I do also think that that may or may not have been the reason why they ended up not doing too well towards the end of this very map, because they kind of devoted all their resources into hunting down Sado on that Winston.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. But also, I mean, we can't really neglect Carpe as well.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, Carpe doing his thing again.
Nuts. Like, when it comes to the overtime, his win rates in these team fights are incredible. This was the winning moment here that you're seeing behind us. Just absurd. I was talking to Captain Planet, our stats guy, a little bit earlier in the week, and he was telling me, he was showing me a nice little graph of Carpe and where like he stands when it comes to clutches in terms of getting kills when the overtime is burning, when the wick is burning, as my good friend Semmler likes to say. Like, and it is absurd how often he wins his team fights for Philly.
Right, what was one of the standout performances from the players for you guys in that first half?
Oh man, I love the Chris Boop into Zephyr bomb combo.
Yeah.
That was huge.
That's
that
a
was
big one.
absolutely beautiful to watch.
Right, and that's
BQB. This
yeah.
guy right here, I wanted to talk about this lad. You know, fun fact about him, his alias used to be Bum God. I'm not sure why he changed it. I prefer Bum God, to be honest.
Same.
But he had an absurd game on Sombra. And this is one of the standout players for Florida that we didn't really see. We didn't see his Sombra too much. We didn't actually see him pull this out. Now this is a star for Florida. This is someone who you want to root for now. I'm really quite pleased that they've come out with this and they put out with a good showing against Philly now. Honestly, what can I say other than just an absolutely absurd amount of numbers that are coming out? 45 seconds, I think, was his charge rate for EMP.
It was so quick.
That's
so
ridiculous.
so quick. And he almost forced his last map into a draw, right?
Yeah.
He had a really good hack followed by a 5-man EMP on Numbani, and if it weren't for Carpet, they would have had it.
The Carpe factor, just barely got it.
Carpet factor.
Every
Barely
time.
got it. All right, guys, well, it's tied up 1-1. Florida Mayhem going for the upset in just a bit.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
Well, as the saying goes, carpe carpe, seize the carpe, and that's exactly what Florida could not do at the end of that map. It was insane. Carpe yet again clutching out another win for his team.
Yeah, yes he did. And he also had 18 final blows in that last map, which was 10 more than anyone else on his team. As expected, Carpe, a massive performer, did 27% of his team's damage as well.
I don't know. I want to know, or maybe I don't want to know, what a Philly team without Carpe looks like. This guy, he is the hero of Philadelphia, no doubt.
Yeah, he is. And looks like our production had a chance to talk to the Philadelphia head coach Hayes, who did say that he may have gotten a little bit cocky there on.
Oh, really?
On Nepal. I know it's hard.
way.
It's hard for you to. It's hard to believe, though. I know.
I think I may have noticed that, actually. I saw that, yeah.
But they're going to be coming out, he said, stronger in this second half. Although one
good.
could argue that they may have been less cocky on Numbani, which is a map that they almost drew on, which would have put Florida Mayhem in the very enviable position of only having to win one of the last 2 maps to take the series.
Well, they're going to get another chance at least here on Temple of Anubis, our assault map. It will be Philadelphia Fusion attacking first here. Neptuno waiting. Looks like they might make some changes here, depending on what Poco sees on that Sombra. A lot of times we'll send out that invisible Sombra to check things out. Looks like they're happy with what they've got on the Florida side.
And Florida, you know, they're gonna play it boring though a little bit. This is a composition that the 3-3 that you would run on point A defense, because you don't want to get snowballed into point B. So they're not really expecting to be able to take this, especially against what we see the Philadelphia Fusion running with this very long distance damage composition that's going to be able to force these 3-3 comp from the Mayhem off the point.
Exactly. EQO on high, putting some zoning damage out, making it tough for Florida to get onto the point right now. 2 ticks taken already by Philadelphia Fusion. Florida just trying to buy as much time as they can, but Carpe finding the shots right away on that Widowmaker. You cannot hide from this guy. Well, unless you walk into that building. I guess then you can hide from him, but you gotta come out sometime. Elk getting 2 on the Tracer too. Having to flex a little bit less than he anticipated, getting 3 in that one. That's a clean fight from Philly. And I mean, again, like you said, this is what Florida expects. They just wanted to go into point B and have some ultimate charge.
And now you switch to 3-3 if you're the Fusion.
Right.
So the trade that you're making, except for Poco actually, will be sticking on the Sombra to see if they can get an EMP.
It's reasonable.
Yeah, Tavik actually making a change over to the Brigitte, and Swan now back on the Rhino. That looked like an interesting, potential miscommunication there from the Mayhem.
Yeah, he was on Roadhog for quite a while before swapping over, but now Philadelphia Fusion on the point. Vic in position, just in time anyway. It's okay. Zephyr getting a little bit low, doesn't want to lose that Diva Mech that early. Has to hide until he gets some healing though, or his team rolls in. That's what they're going to do. Hagopian using that Transcendence, but Zephyr gets D-Mech anyway. Sato down on the Philly side, so it's looking okay for Florida here on their first defense. So they lost point A quickly, but it's like we said, they at least wanted to have an ultimate or 2 to sustain on point B. They have the Transcendence, they were able to hold.
Just as a general point on this map, Temple of Anubis, you really have to make a decision about what you're playing for, either A or B.
Right.
Philadelphia chose to play for A. Florida Mayhem is choosing to play for B. It prevents the snowball, but it does make, of course, that first attack go a little bit quicker. So Philadelphia Fusion now building up their ult bank, and you know, after one push, they've got quite a bit already.
For all the changes they made, that's really solid. Poco, he's used to throwing Diva Mechs in there. Can he throw himself into the team? An EMP? Looks like he can. Gonna drop that EMP, and Swan gets dropped immediately afterwards. Sound barrier does come out for Florida. Chris managed to dodge that one, but Fusion still picking up the early kills here. And now it's on Chris to try to live as long as he can on this Lucio to just delay, but there's only so much you can do in the good old 1v6, and Swan shows up and he's like, nope, I made a terrible mistake. And now it's just gonna be one person after one person, Florida trying to just buy as much time as they can, as it looks pretty inevitable for Philadelphia Fusion to take point B here. The May is a great delay, getting that ice block. Oh, Chris caught again in that Graviton Surge. BQB out of commission, Swan back one more time. Poco's just picking up all the kills, man. They use the sound barrier to seal the deal, and that is a blazing fast time from the Philadelphia Fusion.
Yeah, that's what we're going to see on this map, though. A lot of quick pushes, a lot of time bank, I think, here on Anubis.
Oh, yeah. I definitely think so, too. Quick break, and then it's going to be Florida's turn to go on the attack. Florida Mayhem getting rolled pretty quickly on their defensive round. If you're going to go for that point B focused defense, you still need to last, I think, a little bit longer on point A to at least have some of those ultimates built up.
You do, Noah, but it was 17 limbs for the Philadelphia Fusion to a paltry 2 for the Florida Mayhem.
It's not generally what you want to have if you're Florida.
No, then guess what we're going to see from the Philadelphia Fusion? If you guessed Winston 3-3,
Yep.
you would be correct.
It's the blue steel of Philadelphia Fusion. It's their only look, apparently.
Hey, that's not true. You can't say that when they just did a quad DPS comp.
All right, all right.
Get out of here, Noah.
All right, well, the Magnum gets busted out every once in a while. All right. I'm still within the Zoolander lore here. Florida Mayhem on the attack. Let's see what they decide to go with. Looks like it's going to be the 3-3 on the back of Swan's Reinhardt here.
Mirror 3-3s. A chance here if Florida wins this first fight to snowball very effectively into point B. They're going to take the long way around. They'll be playing the Reinhardt. So the goal here for Florida is they just need to get onto the point and eliminate the mobility advantage that comes with having the Winston.
Sure enough. Sato having to back off for a second. You can't really hold that doorway. It's just Zarya bubbled Winston. Now Florida Mayhem. The slow approach.
Well, it's hard because the Winston can really carve somebody off from the rest of the line. So it has to be slow and deliberate here for the Florida Mayhem. And they are just going to drop down from the high ground eventually, force the supports up.
Yeah, I like this.
This is a good approach from the Florida Mayhem. They're playing this well.
Yeah, you get to kind of funnel the defense to where you would prefer them to be. As they drop down here, Zephyr goes and takes a high ground. Gonna go ahead and chase down Sato, though, as he goes to wreck his team. Let's see Sato getting a little bit low. BQB finishes him off. Couldn't get back to his team, back to the healing in time. And now Philly in a little bit of trouble here. Let's see if BQB can keep it up. A lot of charge on the Zarya right now. Trying to find and finish off Carpe here. He's in the side room. And there he goes. So it looks like Florida Mayhem on track to take point A here. It's kind of exactly what we saw on the other side, too. Lasted just about as long as Florida did on their defense, but the difference is Philly does have a couple ultimates here when Florida rolls in.
Yeah, but Florida's going to have 6, though, Doa. That's the big problem. And you force Sato. You can't play that Winston on this second point very effectively. That means the Reinhardt swap has to come through. So Florida Mayhem with a really big opportunity here, especially if they can get the Graviton Bomb combo.
Extra armor on both sides from the rallies now as Florida goes in. Swan just waiting for the opportunity. Be on the side as well. Philadelphia Fusion force on the bridge. It's a tough point to re-attack the point from Florida Mayhem. Kind of taking the defensive stance here. Graviton Surge after the sound barriers. Can they get rid of the Ryan Shield? They can't quite, but they do kill Elk in the end. It's enough. And Florida Mayhem looking pretty good, but Chris somehow gets caught by Poco self-destruct. You cannot let that happen. If you're Florida Mayhem, they're still looking good on the point, but they may want to get their Lucio back pretty quick here.
There you go. The May stall's coming in right now, trying to get around the corner of this wall, but they're not going to be able to get that May while she's in the ice block.
Yeah, that's right. Florida Mayhem just trying to hold on here. They've got their Lucio back again now, but Philadelphia Fusion getting a little bit of extra pressure on the point. Swan drops 3 with that self-destruct, but he gets frozen here. Sato still taking on the end anyway, but there goes Swan. So now Tank's down. Florida Mayhem, they need to win this fight decisively. It looks like that's exactly what they've done. Without their Reinhardt, they are vulnerable, but it looks like they've got enough of a lead, and that's what they'll do. I think they had about 5:08 in the time bank at the end. A great time. A little bit better even than Philly from Florida.
Yeah, they are going to take a slight lead. 5:08 to 4:43. Here, advantage to the Mayhem.
Very solid. So, blazing attack rounds. We'll see if they can keep it up when we come back from break. Welcome back to Temple of Anubis. Florida Mayhem setting up their defense here as Philadelphia Fusion about to go on their time bank attack.
Yeah, I think big credit here to the Florida Mayhem coaching staff, Mineral, and the rest of the coaches, because that slow roll was really good. And we're going to take a look here at Hagapun. I think they timed everything super well on that first attack because they were able to abuse the fact that Fusion did not actually have a sound barrier for their Graviton self-destruct combo.
Yeah, I love Hagopun charging up that right click while Reinhardt doesn't have the Orb of Harmony on him and dies. Like, that's a classic Zen there, Hagopun. I love you, man.
Well, Hagopun made it work, though, at the end. They actually did cap, even though they saw Swan fall. And when I was talking about the slow approach, I mean, you know, coming here onto this attack and doing a very deliberate roll onto the high ground. That was what won them, really, the map.
Yeah, it was really well executed. And again, this Florida Mayhem, a lot more strength in this team than they showed in week 1, clearly. On the defense now, though, as Philadelphia Fusion comes at them with the same look as they did on their attack. A lot of DPS here, 4 in fact. Of course, Sato on that Winston, trying to get in the back. On to Vic here. Gets sent flying, though.
This is a really tricky defense for the Mayhem. It's just about trying to manage who's going to be touching the point so that the percentage doesn't go up. It's difficult because of how long these sight lines are and how much damage is coming in.
Sato taken out. He couldn't quite stay alive on the point there.
And conversely, Doa, now they don't have anybody to stand on the point. So you can run quad DPS, but you can't actually stand on the point or make any kind of plays. But they do open up enough space for Neptuno to res Sato.
I'm surprised they actually got Sato in a position where they could res him here. Oh, EQO! He pops a barrage, but doesn't get anything done with it. Now Florida Mayhem, Hagopun using that Transcendence just in case. And they're able to keep everybody alive here. Elk with the stick on the Hagopun, showing his tracer skills right there. And now Philadelphia Fusion looks like they're ready to take point A. Finish taking it at least. Does get stunned. Another kill from BQB. So Florida's certainly making Fusion pay for it. They're actually going to chase him off the point for the moment. Go right back in, though. EQO's getting way too much damage done with this Pharah.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time, though, Joa. But you know what?
Yeah.
They got a couple minutes off the clock. They also are in a great place with their ult economy. And we'll see if they're going to make any swaps. So this time, they made some weird swaps in their last attack. They should be staying in their spawn right now, or they're close to it to see if they're going to make any changes. But Philadelphia, they're just going to go with the Rhine 3-3.
Sure.
So Florida Mayhem, they don't actually reset their ult economy in between points like they did weirdly last time. This time, they should have a pretty good edge.
I think so. BQB going in, drops that grab as soon as he picks it up, and EQO down with the fire strike. It's going to be a quick team fight win for Florida Mayhem. And you know, crucially, winning that fight quickly and not giving Fusion a chance to build up a lot more ult charge.
Yeah, I think that's great use of that ultimate. Florida Mayhem playing disciplined. I know I'd be a little bit worried if I'm the Philadelphia Fusion because, sure, we're tied up in this series, but Florida Mayhem is exposing a lot of your weaknesses right now, and I think that's going to make them a little bit uncomfortable in future weeks.
True enough, both our champion and our runner-up teams from Overwatch League 2018 looking a little bit suspect here. 2019, Poco comes in though with an EMP. A lot of people hacked on that one.
Great sound barrier though.
Yeah,
sound barrier absolutely saving it. Nice job from Chris, realizing that timing doesn't get hit by the EMP himself and cancels it out with his own ultimate.
Florida Mayhem though still on the point, still with a couple ultimates to use to try to delay this. Zephyr and Swan, and now Hagopun got his Transcendence back. So another support ultimate even. Try to weather the storm coming in from Philadelphia Fusion. Swan, gotta check your corners if you're Fusion. You know that Reinhardt's right there, though. He's not fooling anybody.
He's not, but he's still making life difficult.
Yeah, it still makes you afraid to push forward a little bit. Gets that extra armor, has to back away. They gotta protect him. He's gonna drop the Earth Shatter again, goes up the stairs, but he gets killed anyway. And it's gonna be Hagopun dying right at the beginning of that fight, unable to use the Transcendence. And Sato just kind of finishing things up with that Earth Shatter here. Hagopun, can they get back there in time? We'll see. It's going to be so close. They barely get back on the point. And now the Graviton Surge. Can they get anyone? Sato turns the shield just in time. And they've got the sound barrier as well. Philadelphia Fusion once again clinging to this attack here. Another EMP from Poco. 3 people hacked with that one. Hagopun not lasting too much longer there. And I don't know if Philly's got enough.
They're trying to fight right now. They still have a lot of people on that point, Doa, but they're not actually taking out many of these tanks. Finally, Swan is going to fall, but Chris will pick Sato up.
That's the thing. Florida Mayhem, luckily for Philly, losing their tanks here after that, but it was looking a little bit dicier either way. Philadelphia Fusion will complete their attack again, go up to 4 points, but Florida certainly made them pay for it.
They absolutely did, and that was a much better defense this time from the Florida Mayhem. 51 seconds. in the time bank, but still the Fusion will complete the map, and that means the gauntlet has been thrown. Florida Mayhem will also have to roll through an additional 2 points to trigger yet another time bank round.
I like it. This has been a fun map to watch.
It really has.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I'm just thrilled that Florida is showing us kind of a whole new level of play from what we saw last week, you know, and really kind of giving Philadelphia some trouble.
Yeah, I like to see what Florida is doing. I think you can still see that there are communication issues on this roster. I know Danny was talking to the Florida Mayhem while this match was going on, and they are trying to comment English currently, which is obviously, I think, quite difficult for a majority Korean roster.
Yep.
But that said, you know, sometimes they mismanage their ultimates, and you could see that because probably a lot of these times they shouldn't have actually been giving up that point. It's just Philadelphia Fusion's using their cooldowns a bit more efficiently. But I think the ideas that they have coming into the match are quite good, and if they can iron out some of those really moment-to-moment communication issues, they could be a dangerous team.
Sure enough. Florida Mayhem on the attack now, going with the same thing we saw before. Tvik just throwing out that Sonic Arrow. Just trying to take a look at some things. Get a little bit of info maybe on the enemy team. BQ Bay.
BQ Bay, he's your favorite.
BQ Bay. That's Semmler, what can I say? Eat my bay.
Well,
I'm never going to say that again, by the way.
not anymore. Carpe's going to be here right by himself.
All right, well, lots of break.
Sato's gonna come in.
They got the kill, man. Sato completed the dive there. They lose EQO in the process, but they take out Hagupyeon, so they go 1 for 1. It is a little bit longer of a walk for EQO than it is for Hagupyeon on that Zenyatta.
Yeah, you'll take that trade too if you're the Florida Mayhem. That's why they're going directly to the point right now.
Oh yeah, of course. Carpe's going to go down almost immediately. Without that Brigitte, you're going to have way less frontline power on the side of Fusions, and they're making pay for it. Elk down, and that's an easy fight for Florida. So I don't know. It was a risk for Philly to take that aggressive stance, but it doesn't seem like it paid off, did it?
No, and also that means they are going to have to switch Sato off. Now the question is, he does have a lot of ult charge. Do they keep him on the Winston to see if they can get Primal to stall?
I don't know,
which
man.
is what they're going to do. But the problem with making that trade of a Zen for the Brigitte is the Brigitte is doing the majority of the healing output in this composition. So that's why Florida Mayhem says, okay, we're just going to run straight into you. Our tanks are going to overpower yours.
Why not? They can still keep running into him again. Carpe, though, takes out Hagupyeon. You want to run into that if you're the Zenyatta. So Florida Mayhem stall a little bit, looks like Zephyr. Going to get demeched as well. And if you're Florida now, you have to pull back and regroup a little bit. And Philly get some time to really build up some ultimates and get a bit of breathing room here on the point.
Yeah, this is one of those times, too, where Florida Mayhem, I think, is suffering from execution, even though they're able to win these fights. They can't quite get the snowball to be effective, and now Philly Fusion has a massive bank of ultimates.
Tvik actually put the armor onto Zephyr in mini diva form, which is kind of troll because it just makes him live longer. So it's like, come on, man, just let him die. Florida Mayhem back on the attack, 4 out of 6 ultimates ready to go, but Philadelphia nearly 5 out of 6 for them. Florida Mayhem with maybe a small window to push forward here.
It's going to be really tough for Florida. They got to bait some of these ults out. They're going to try just by throwing in the grab.
All right, there's a self-destruct. Can they fit it in there? Sound Barrier gets down instead. Poco with his self-destruct catches Tvik. How does he do it? Tvik just on the wrong side of the shield. Didn't have his up in time, I guess. And Florida Mayhem once again sent packing. It's a long flight to Florida.
Yeah, 5 hours from here, I think.
Yeah, it's a ways. You don't want to get sent packing so early.
And now just extra ult charge on the backside of the fight for the Philadelphia Fusion. Sato with nearly another Earth Shatter already. And now Florida Mayhem, this is going to be tough. They have consistently fallen behind on their ult economy right now. Philadelphia Fusion playing aggressively and ambushing them as they try and approach the point.
Good stylistic adaptation by Philadelphia to kind of catch Florida when they're
Philly can just rally right now, too, and take another one of these.
I think so. Still 2:30 on the clock for Florida. They've got some time, but
there it is.
It's quickly running out. Yeah, rally comes in for Philly here. Hagupyeon has that Transcendence. Just in case, they're approaching it slower, more methodical this time from the Florida Mayhem side. Earth Shatter comes in. Hagupyeon has to pop the Zen ult to keep people alive. Can't save Tvik, though. That's going to be a problem for the attackers here. Philadelphia Fusion getting a good start, but they do lose Sato. There's another one as BQB takes out EQO. Graviton Surge comes in. trying to equalize things for Philadelphia, but Florida's still gaining a little bit of time here. Actually, they haven't gained any yet. They gotta clear the rest of Philly out, and it looks like Florida's gonna have to back off again.
Yeah, Carpe
Ooh,
just a little bit
rough.
too much. They did force the swap from Sato onto the Wrecking Ball, though.
Sure.
So he is going to need to make a switch back over to the Reinhardt now, and he's already heading back to the spawn room. Philly also arguably had to use more than they wanted to by dropping that Graviton Surge due to the pressure from the Florida Mayhem. So here we go, Florida Mayhem. Another opportunity for a slow approach. If they can get the bomb, well, Neptuno's going to get that sound barrier soon enough. This should be another fight win for Philly, as long as nothing too wacky happens.
Well, you heard it here first. Monty predicting the very fights themselves. Let's see if he's right and then judge him harshly.
Thanks, Internet.
Philly getting aggressive again. They do take down Swan. All right, good start for Philadelphia Fusion, and Florida Mayhem reversing really quickly here. Gonna wait until they've got a few more ultimates. There you go. You were right. You happy?
Well, that's not how I thought it was going to go, so no, I'm not happy.
Oh, okay.
But coming
Never
in,
happy.
I mean, never happy. But I think if you look at Philadelphia, they're going to have everything online except for that Transcendence right now. So Florida Mayhem have to reset. There will be a very small window here. They are already behind when it comes to time bank, no matter what.
Yeah, if they can at least get the second point, though, they'll have something. They've got the ultimates to do it. BQB needs a good grab here. Escorting him in. He's the VFB this time. All right, waiting for it. Wants to make sure that defensive matrix is down. He waits for it to get down, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to send in the self-destruct as well. Sound barrier comes in at just the right time, though. Saves a lot of people, but it doesn't save Carpe. And now Florida with a 6v5 opportunity here to push through and take the second point. Good. Earthshatter coming in from Swan, gets him the kill onto Sato, and now BQB zoning with that fully charged Zarya. They've got to build a lot, though. They've still got to deal with the respawns. I think they're going to go into OT. Almost certainly. Maywall comes up. Going to stall the point for the moment. Florida Mayhem, they need to finish this one cleanly. They're already into overtime. They got to do it. They're getting the kills to do just that. So Florida Mayhem going to be down in time bank, like we said, but at least staying alive in this series as long as they can continue to kill these respawns from Philly.
Yeah, they can.
Going to do. There you go.
Well, that's going to tie things up here at 4 on Temple of Anubis. Last push here from the Florida Mayhem. Managing to find some level of success that'll reset us here at a minute 51 and a minute respectively.
That's right. Get that minute yet. If both teams are under 1 minute. So it will be, I believe, Florida Mayhem on the attack, because again, they have less time in the time bank.
And here's the real question. What do you do in this scenario where you may not even have a B attack? Florida Mayhem has been trying to prioritize the Rhine 3-3 composition on their defenses, but arguably they should not do that this time because they need to hold really at A. We'll see how far they get, because that's going to be a decision that they make as they see how far they can push. Because if they can push through to B, maybe get a tick onto point B, then they might be able to actually run that composition again, but they're going to have to strike swiftly first.
I was going to say, I mean, it almost feels like with the defense, with such low time bank situation, you're going to put everything you've got into point A, but Philadelphia Fusion's composition certainly not respecting that.
I would also argue that you can't run the Reinhardt 3-3 on your point A attack either, because it takes so long to set up. You have to be able to move to that point, and one mistake is going to allow Sato to jump on top of you.
They're going to do it anyway.
I mean, they're going to have one shot at this point, really.
That's what I've heard. You only got one shot.
One opportunity.
That's right.
Bomb Spaghetti.
That's right. Spaghetti ready. Knees weak. Hagapun sweaty, which is amazing because he's a robot. Sweaty robot. Here we go, Florida. Oh, Hagapun down again. Whole team's going to be sweating now, and Philadelphia Fusion, they're going to take that one shot, and they're going to dunk it right back in Florida's face, and that's going to be really tough for Florida. They're going to need to scramble like crazy. And oh, the delay on Zephyr. They're going to hold him back as long as they possibly can. Only 30 seconds left.
Oh, no.
That's really rough, man. It's going to be another...
I don't think that was the call, though. I think that's so high risk, and Philadelphia Fusion knew the path that they were taking because it's the shortest path to the high ground. They jumped in between them, carved them in half.
Here comes the 5v6. They got to try it, man. They can't wait. They're onto the high ground right now, but they need to get somebody on the point. We're down to 5 seconds right now for Philly to defend. They do get somebody over there, but they lose to Vic in the process. We're into OT, and Philadelphia Fusion, they just need to win this fight. They've got the Primal Rage to do it. Really quick Primal Rage built up by Sato. That's what he does, man. He's a specialist on that Winston, and a solid defense for Philly. They're going to put themselves in a great position to win this map.
Yeah, now I think they're going to be coming in, of course, on their attack round, Doa. They're going to run quad DPS.
Yep.
I only need that one tick. I think it's going to be pretty easy for Philadelphia. I think this was a really potentially winnable situation for Florida, but they didn't take a risk. I think if you go in and you try and play with a multi-DPS composition, if you're the Florida Mayhem, at least there's a chance you can push through A, and then you can try and play that the Rhine 3-3 on your defense and give up point A. And I think that was going to be playing to the strengths that we've seen from the Mayhem so far.
Right. Well, as it is, still have a chance to force that draw if they can just hold off Philadelphia. But again, minute 51 on the clock for Philly, and all they need is just 1/3 of the control meter, just that one tick, and they'll take this map and take a lead in the series.
Yeah, this is so difficult too, because they have to. If you're the Florida Mayhem, you must stand on this point at all times.
Right.
Which means you're going to be in the open. You have to contest the Hammond that's going to be coming in. This is disaster. Like, Philadelphia Fusion, I think, have such a huge advantage right now. Florida Mayhem are truly going to have to do something amazing. Now, they are making a switch, to their credit. They will have Swan on the Winston. That is definitely the right call here. So at least you can contest some of these DPS a little bit better.
Hagapin on the Ana as well,
Yes.
I think is a good choice too, because they know there's probably not going to be a Diva on the other side to eat those grenades. And the thing is, when Hammond goes up and he's about to do his slam, he kind of hovers in the air for a second. And we started to see a lot of Anas actually hitting a sleep dart on that. Looks like he might swap though. They did just go ahead and get
they
this.
slept. They slept
sleep-
Zephyr.
no.
Oh, okay. He managed to escape.
That was lucky, actually.
That's a bit lucky.
Send that Diva out to scout, and if that Diva gets slept, suddenly your defense is a lot rougher.
Yep, indeed. And we saw that strategy a lot last season, where you just pop out of spawn with an Ana on the attack and see if you can get that sleep. They tried it here. It actually worked, but they couldn't finish it.
Oh, Swan, really low, and that's an easy kill for Carpe to finish off. He went so aggressive, he had nobody backing him up.
Swan dive straight into the pavement.
That's the Swan dive, guys. So Zephyr was not there to protect his Winston, and oh, Neptuno down. Zephyr though, it's like, I don't need to protect my tank. I'm just gonna get the kills here.
I mean, that's a huge counterplay kill.
Zephyr did get hacked in the process, so he's lucky he was able to stay in his mech. Poco half health up on the high ground here on that Sombra.
60 seconds.
All right, Swan comes back on that Hammond, but already low health again. They need to get that guy healed up. But it's
Starting to heal up now. Neptuno has returned to go ahead and heal up Poco on the high ground, and here's the real fight. That was a great delay from the Mayhem, so now they put themselves back in a winnable situation.
Pretty much. They can possibly do it. Sato coming in, Poco down. A kill for Florida early on. Oh, but Neptuno comes back. The Battle Mercy, and he gets a res on the Poco. He's a Mercy total package for sure. And now Sato waiting for his chance. The hop down on the low ground here to Vic hacked.
But he has the nano boost, so got that going for him.
All right, well, I guess that's something. Hagapin down. He did take out EQO, though, got the shot in before he was taken out. Florida just tried to cling to life here, but I don't know, man. Sato gets to Vic, and it looks like they may be able to just get that first tick. And they probably can. Zephyr, Zarya shield that he can't stay alive. Self-destruct comes in, but it doesn't catch anybody. Neptuno down.
Oh, that's
got him. They got a chance. Oh, they're turning it around. They can maybe do it. The tick is up and take him, and EQO comes in with the barrage. Gets two. D-Max Zephyr, EQO the hero. No, but
Widowmaker has there. Kirkbride gets moved up. Gonna get another point.
He can't do it, and that, despite what it looked like, will be a draw.
Wow.
Carpe, he couldn't clutch 2 maps in a row. Who knew?
Big props to the Mayhem.
Wow.
I like the swaps that they made there at the end. Really good stuff.
What a series. Don't go anywhere, guys. Map 4 coming up right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile. High ground or low ground, T-Mobile has you covered.
What a series we have, and what a play by Swan at the end there to get a couple of the go-ahead kills to give Florida Mayhem the draw on Temple of Anubis. This guy has been playing really well today. All in all, a much better Florida Mayhem than we saw last week.
Absolutely. I like them coming out of the gate with Winston, although it was looking really dicey there until Zephyr got the first kill into Neptuno. But then Swan switched over to the Wrecking Ball to make it back to the point, and that was absolutely fantastic for the Florida Mayhem because he did end up getting some very important kills in that engagement.
Looks like he's growing the mustache that you so recently disregarded.
I disregarded my mustache.
I don't know. I was going to try to abandon. That's the word I was looking for.
I abandoned my mustache.
Words cannot describe what the horrible thing you did to that mustache was. Everybody loved it. We miss Philip.
I didn't abandon my mustache.
Back Philip. Bring back Philip.
I just took it. I just took it to the farm to lead a better life.
Oh, sure.
Right?
He's with all the other mustaches hanging out. Here we go.
He'll be happier there.
Oh, that's what they always say. Philadelphia Fusion on the attack here. Florida Mayhem going for an aggressive defense. They're going to try to jump down as Fusion move up on the high ground here. Interesting.
Well, this is
Sit on
weird.
The payload can't move if the defense is sitting on it.
We normally don't see 3-3 from both teams at the start of Route 66.A, but this time Philadelphia Fusion has had enough. They're going to come out the gates on the Reinhardt.
Mind games are real here. But.
Yeah, playing the payload. There is Neptuno up there being annoying. Chris has to jump up and actually boop him away because he's trying to reposition BQB. The Lucio battle is real right now.
Lucio Mortal Kombat up on the side of a cliff is my favorite thing. All right, Sato moved back into Florida for a second here. That was dangerous. A dangerous world for both Reinhardts as they both go down. But there goes BQB in the defense starting to fall apart for Florida here. Arbe looking to get the clean up, and he will. And so the nice thing about defending so far up is that you do get another chance to defend it at the end of A here.
Yeah, you do, I guess. But Philadelphia Fusion, that was a pretty convincing win after a lot of poking, as you can see teams building up ultimates. BQB, though, despite having a high ground advantage, not doing a lot of damage in that fight. He's not even 50% of the way to his Graviton Surge yet. Carpe already coming out with a Zarya ult in his back pocket.
Pretty much.
That's where she keeps her ults.
That's a dangerous place. But like anomaly in the space-time continuum, which you can imagine the Graviton Surge is. At least that's what I imagine anyway. Either way, he's got his ult. That's the point. All right. Pretty high charge right now for Carpe as well. Florida Mayhem, they're going to have to drop at some point. For the boot. Is this the moment? Payload's been stopped. Kind of sit behind the fence and do just that. They're going in, rallies on both sides here. Carpe goes in and uses the grab on the side of the wall to keep everybody trapped. Self-destruct comes in, no kills out of that one. Sato turns around for an Earth Shatter onto Tamik and a few more. Zephyr manages to find Neptuno with his own self-destruct. Now Florida, on the back of that sound barrier, might be able to turn this one around a bit here.
Yes, they will, Doa. They had that self-destruct a little bit later with the sound barrier wearing away for the Philadelphia Fusion. So that's the crucial kill that they needed. It is going to be a cleanup effort now, but Swan actually goes down thanks to the tank line.
Oh, they did a good job, too, of separating Sato from the rest of his team and finishing him off. So as rough as that first fight on defense looked for Florida Mayhem, I feel like they really kind of redeemed themselves with the one we just saw.
Yeah, all the ultimates used there, too. EQO going to be coming back with a rally pretty soon. May be able to use that engage to get the Graviton Surge out of BQB, but likely they need a couple fights here from Philly before they can really push this payload all the way to the end of A.
Yep. Philadelphia Fusion trying to cross the bridge. Who's going to be the Gandalf and say you shall not pass? Looks like nobody on the Florida side as they just back off onto the payload. Fly, you fools.
Nobody's Gandalf. Florida Mayhem story.
Nobody gets to be Gandalf this time. Florida Mayhem, though. Good position on the payload here. Forcing Philadelphia to come to them. They're going to do the rally and do just that. Graviton Surge used on that side as well. Hagapon and the rest of Florida, though, picking up kills. And that's going to be another defensive fight win for the Mayhem. How about that?
Yeah, a lot of stuff used there. Or gained, rather, I should say. Just the Graviton Surge used on the side of the Florida Mayhem. So chance here again for the Philadelphia Fusion. They did end up trading the rally for that ultimate, like we thought might happen. This is the do or die push, though, for Philly. 15 seconds.
3 ults to do it with. They're going to have the grab soon. Philadelphia trying to get to their payload. Got to finish A. It'd be crazy if Florida held them right here, but they've got the ults to do it. Can they use them safely enough? Can they use them efficiently enough? Swan waiting for a chance, tries to get in there. Ooh, gets a nice Earth Shatter. onto the Diva. Poco forced to use that self-destruct. Don't want to charge that. That's dangerous, man. Florida, though, still pushing forward here. They're going to send in Zephyr self-destruct. Oh, and they catch Carpe. Huge plays for Florida Mayhem as they are going to win this defensive battle, it looks like. And I can't believe it. It looks like they're going to hold Philly on point A. Route 66. Elk jetting in there with the Transcendence, keeping Neptuno alive, but not for long. And there goes the supports, and there goes the time bank at that.
Whoa, this is
great defense for Florida.
This is so good for Florida, Doa.
Crazy.
They win this, they push almost all the way to point A, and this is for all the marbles. The match will be won by the Florida Mayhem.
It's 1-1 in a draw. This map decides it. See you right after the break for Florida's attack. Here it is. The Florida Mayhem, after getting 4-0'd last week in their first match, have brought themselves in a very reachable goal of beating Philadelphia Fusion. All they need to do is push the payload on Route 66 nearly to the end of point A.
Yeah, really the problem that last fight was Elk getting picked off on the final approach by BQB, finding the kill with the Zarya, and at that point, it's just so challenging. You're in a 6 versus 5 scenario. You don't have a Discord orb to quickly burn down a target.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of the damage that the Zenyatta is going to offer to a 3-3 composition.
Well, as well as Florida Mayhem's been playing too, you kind of do have to say, well, Philadelphia Fusion unable to use Boombox today in that Zenyatta role that they're so used to being in, and he's a big difference maker, and might have been the difference today with how close this one has been.
Yeah, this time, though, they are going to use the Sonic Arrow just to see into the boxcar to detect Poco and Carpe's position. Florida Mayhem, I think this is great. Just go again with the Rhine 3-3. That way, you know, eventually, you've been winning this mirror matchup, and you're feeling good with it, generally speaking. It also is enough to just grind out the end of this point when you have that ult advantage.
Swan separated from his team. He's going to jump back on there. Elk down again. Zephyr. I think Zephyr has realized that he can hunt this Zenyatta down. Elk's inexperience on that pick certainly starting to show a little bit now. Going after Carpe, going to shield himself. Buy himself a bit of time, but man, that's a low health Zarya right there. And Florida Mayhem is trying to finish people off. They've got so many members of Philly low, and I think they're going to start falling fast and furious here. And they certainly will. There goes Poco out of the mech right now, and Florida Mayhem is going to get most of the distance they need on this push right off the bat.
Yeah, Elk going down so early leaves him at 35% towards the trance. That is crucial AoE healing that you need against a charged up Zarya and a Reinhardt in close range.
Hey, Zephyr knows, man. I think he knows he can just go after Elk whenever he wants right now. It reminds me of a note on Boston versus Raucus on Houston last week. That Diva was putting the hurt on the Zenyatta. Same thing today, right here, right now. Zephyr going to be looking for that target again. Swan comes in. Ooh, that Earth Shatter knocks people right off the roof. They're going to use the grab as well on the Philadelphia side. Poco needs big self-destruct, but everybody gets away. BQB getting that charge on the shield. Agopun manages to find the kill onto Poco before he remexes. They do lose Zephyr, though. So, Philadelphia with a chance, but that payload is moving. You need to stop it at some point.
Yeah, it's one fight territory here now. BQB has a Graviton Surge, going to throw it out, but that's not going to be enough with the Transcendence from Elk.
I don't think so. Elk was able to build the Zen Ultimate quick enough to keep Philly in the game. That said, Florida Mayhem nearly there, trying to use that Earth Shatter from Swan to seal the deal. Didn't quite get it. Now Zephyr sends in a self-destruct, then he kills off that one. They do force out the sound barrier. They can play it safe here. Now a later sound barrier from themselves. They'll be able to go in with more shields now, and goodbye Sato. Florida Mayhem trying to punch their ticket to their first win in Overwatch League 2019. Neptuno the kill onto Hagopun. I don't think that's going to be enough. Swan drops the Earth Shatter onto Elk, and I think that's going to be all she wrote for Philadelphia Fusion as Florida Mayhem rolls their way in there, and they will take the win 2-1 over Philadelphia Fusion.
Very well done from the Florida Mayhem. They came out and looked at the start like Philadelphia was disrespecting them a bit, and guess who wins this match in the end? That game one turned out to be a big difference maker.
I was going to say, it really has been a great match, and again, you have to talk about Boombox not being there on the Philly side, but I think you have to talk a lot more about how this Florida team looked and what a night and day difference there was between their match last week and their match today. You know, I did make the prediction that Florida Mayhem would be a top 4 team this year, and that was done with some seriousness. Not 100%, but some seriousness. But it's matches like this that make you wonder, this is a different Florida Mayhem. This is a Florida Mayhem that I think is going to go pretty far this season.
Yeah, we'll see if they can clean up some of their execution, because right now the comms on a second-to-second basis still seem a little bit off. But I'm really impressed with what the Florida staff was able to do by implementing some cool game plans coming in. Really appreciate that level of attention to detail now that they had some footage on the Fusion. And I do think it shows a little bit of weakness there from Philadelphia.
Exciting stuff to see. Well, let's send it down to the floor where Mica has Tvik standing by.
Thanks, guys. Everybody in the arena, give it up for Tvik and Florida Mayhem. So, Tvik, a lot of people are wondering, how are you doing speaking English on an all-Korean team, and what's the communication like?
Fighting, fighting, fighting.
Well, it seemed to work out today. And last week, Florida was looking a little bit shaky, but you guys took the win today and a previously undefeated Philadelphia. So what were the changes that were made? And I'm pretty sure you're feeling good after that?
I think for the first week we had a lot of nerves going in, and our communication wasn't at best. There was too much hectic, too much screaming, and we really worked on it this week, and it seems that it has paid off really well.
Absolutely, it really has. So just keep on fighting and keep on communicating, and I know we'll see you guys up here even more. So thank you so much to Tvik. Give it another round of applause, you guys. And back to you guys up in the caster nest.
Well, it's so good to see interviews with a player like Tvik. Tvik's been around the Overwatch League scene, Overwatch scene in general, just basically from the beginning. Yeah. So it's cool to see him in the league, cool to see him getting the win on Florida in a situation where communication is going to be challenging. But hey, today they brought it.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear the difference in their communication, like calming down a little bit after that week 1. I think part of that was probably just nerves of a lot of these players being in their first Overwatch League match, but it's good to hear they're able to work on that week to week, and this time executing a really nice game plan. Elkir, made a lot of plays on the Tracer, looked like a solid part of this team considering it was a rather sudden substitution for Boombox, but in the end, I've heard a big Buck Hunter, Doa, but it was big Elk Hunter, as you say, with Zephyr on that last map.
Yeah, it sure was, yep. Gonna be getting some nice elk venison out of this match. So delicious.
Gamey, as they might say. This elk is very gamey. He's playing in the Overwatch League, so.
You see what you did there, MonteCristo. Well, Florida Mayhem, though, again, I mean, it's so good to see these guys playing well, executing things, as we see Zephyr just tortured. What a highlight there. But, again, it's great to see this team playing up to the level that we thought they could. You look at this roster on paper coming into the Overwatch League, and another great boot from Chris, and Chris is one of the players I was most excited about actually coming in on Florida. We saw him when we were casting Apex in Korea back in the day, and certainly a standout Lucio then, and finally showing that now today.
Yeah, I think this is going to make a lot of Florida fans very happy. Not only the win, but the way in which the win occurred, it being such a dramatic improvement from last week, and showcasing a lot of versatility
from downtown
and prepared strats. That's the kill that destroyed the Philadelphia Fusion right there.
Yep.
You can't get eliminated on that approach.
How about BQB, man? I mean, great on the Sombra, great on the Zarya as well. Swan, of course, playing a lot better too. Had a great Earth Shatter then in that last fight to sort of set up that last team fight win. Yeah.
Good
Very
stuff.
cool stuff. Well, let's take a look at who our player of the match was. It's going to be none other than BQB, player of the match, brought by Omen by HP. BQB, we talked about it. The EMPs, the great play from Zarya, the Graviton Surges, all of the ultimates thrown in there. But coming into the league again, everybody said, watch BQB. This guy is a fantastic Sombra player. Zarya is decent as well. We didn't see that at all, I felt, really, in their first match, but today we saw it in spades.
Yeah, we did. And it was also, I think, the timing on a lot of these eliminations, because it was BQP there picking up the really important clutch kills in order for Florida to stop that push, that final push on Route 66, to be able to get the big EMPs off to take that point on Shrine.
That's right, it's a lot of hero damage done, too. Let's take a look ahead at our match coming up a little bit later. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, it should be
Guangzhou
fun.
Charge versus Dallas Fuel. Dallas Fuel coming off of that great win over Seoul Dynasty. So I'm excited to see those guys play again. That should be interesting.
Yeah, I wonder which fuel we're going to be getting in this matchup. Good fuel,
I don't
bad
know.
fuel. I don't even know if Guangzhou is a good 3-3 team because of that wacky match they played against the Chengdu Hunters. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of questions still about this next match.
It's only the second week. The questions will be answered in time. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you again very soon for another match. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Overwatch League action right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota, official North American partner of the Overwatch League. Toyota, let's go places.